Today, I've got an excellent tactical light to review, the Klarus XT21X Pro. Welcome back to Shul Lights. Today I've got the Klarus XT21X Pro. This arrived from Klarus for me to review, and little side note, I don't own any guns. I'm not really a tactical guy. I just have a love for flashlights. So sometimes when I see a tactical light like this, it doesn't super appeal to me. So when I received this from Klarus and I realized, it was a tactical light, it kind of sat on my workbench for a while, and I thought, I'll get to it when I get to it. It wasn't super exciting, right? Well, then I finally opened it, I pulled the thing out, and I was like, wow, I love the design of this thing so much. Look at this. Okay, first off, the anodization is really, really good. But look at the milling here. Look at all this. I really like this pattern. This kind of crisscrossy pattern. Let me get in really tight here. Look at that. It's got this fine groove milling all over it. It has an excellent look. I really like it. Even the font. I like Klarus' font, and the XT21X Pro is on the back. I like the cutouts here. I think it looks excellent. I really just like it. I don't know how to say that any differently. Now, the bezel here is a strike bezel, and it's not super aggressive looking, and I wouldn't consider it sharp, but it's definitely not smooth, okay? So it's not going to tear up pants. I don't think this would tear up pants. But when you run your fingers over it, it's definitely not a smooth bezel. So be aware of that. Look at that excellent crinkle finish reflector. And the giant XHP70 in the middle there. Look at that. Nice little button there. Rubber, tactile rubber, right? You can feel it. And it's got an illuminated light in the middle for charging and status. On the back, it's got a pretty beefy flappy doodle. This thing is beefy. You peel it up, and then it spins out of the way. And look at the chunk on that. I'm pretty impressed. This thing is not going to accidentally flip out of the way. You got to really dig under it. It's got a press-on clip that you can pull off like that. So if you prefer a no-clip look, there you go. And the tail switch here, and we're going to get into this very soon, is excellent because it's got a side E switch right there for operation, but it's got a direct to turbo switch and a mode switch on the side. It's got a dual kind of switch going here. It's got a rubbery clicky right there, and then an E switch right there. And we're going to talk about this in the UI section. It's really what sets this light apart. And really, the fact that you can set up different operating modes on this makes it appeal to me because it can be a full-on tactical light or a normal flashlight really easily by selecting these on the back. So I think that this milling that looks so great, the high-quality construction, the really good UI, multiple switches, that's what commands the premium price that this Klarus is coming in at. All right, a quick size comparison against other XHP70 lights you might know. These are all 21700 lights, meaning the batteries are 21700s. You can see a Cyan Sky P25 here with a small little short reflector, which has a much different beam than these two guys with the larger reflectors. You got the Klarus XT21X with its deep crinkle reflector. Let me get a better focus on that. And then you've got the L35 from AceBeam with its very large TIR optic. So these two are going to throw much better than this one will, even though they're all exactly the same emitter. They're all the XHP70 emitter. Let me get a good focus on that. You can see, there we go. There's both of them. All right. Since all three of these are the same emitter and they just have different sized reflectors and optics, that's going to define the beam shape, is the size of the head here. I do want to point out though that while this one is extremely floody and these two are throwy, this Klarus is much more throwy than this one. and about the same as the L35. And the reason I'm pointing that out is the Klarus is a large light, but I can shove this in a front pocket of jeans. That will work. I don't feel like the L35 will go in a front pocket of jeans, even though the throw on these two is very similar. So I just want to point out that the depth of this reflector kind of holds up and keeps up with the L35, even though the L35 is much larger. All right, let's do battery and charging really quickly. So you can unscrew the tail cap and remove a standard 21700 cell. Now, this 21700 is a button top. It's a little bit longer than some of my unprotected 21700s. You can see right there. It's a little longer, but it's not got a charging port anywhere on it, so you would have to charge it in the light via the Flappy Doodle if that's what you wanted to do. I typically take these things out and just throw them in my SkyRC charger. But if you want to use this Floppy Doodle right here, and I did last night to test it out, it's a USB-C port right there. And when you plug it in via any USB-C cable, so just plug it in like that, get a good seat on it. On the other side, you'll see a flashing red light. There it is, flashing red light. And it turns solid green when it's fully charged. Let's talk about what comes in the box. First off, the box is excellent. I don't put a lot of stock into boxes, but if you're buying this as a gift for somebody, it's got great presentation. If you look at it, it's got kind of that gold leafing kind of look down here. It's real shiny. It's got a UV trapping right here so that the flashlight kind of shines compared to the matte of the box. Notice it doesn't have any flaps. It's a box that has a lid, and when you pull it off, it's got a kind of satisfying back pressure. When you first open up the box, it's got a quick start guide to get you going. And when you lift this up, that's where the flashlight lives. There is a really nice holster that says Klarus on it. There is a little pamphlet back here, and there is an accessory box, which includes its own charging cable, lanyard, extra O-rings, and a manual. The accessory box also includes an adapter for using a standard unprotected 18650 in the light. It's excellent because it's actually magnetic and the battery doesn't come out until you really kind of shove on it. I want to take a moment to talk about the holster because when you're paying a premium for light like this, you expect it to come with good features. And this holster is not only made exactly for the shape of this, it's not just an OEM off-the-shelf thing, but it's got a cup kind of riveted in at the bottom here, and a cup mates up with the switch on the bottom here to protect it from accidental activation, and then the top comes over like that. Notice it's got a plastic D-ring as well as a belt loop. All right, let's talk about the UI, which is just excellent. So there's an E-switch on the side and a clicky switch on the back, which is prominent yet somewhat guarded. So really easy to get to, even if you were wearing gloves, but it's got this shield around it to kind of help prevent accidental activation. Let's start with the UI as it comes in the box. So it's already set up for tactical mode, which means that a click on the back here is going to go straight to turbo. Unclick, turn it off. Now when it's on, you can hit this mode button on the side here and it decreases. So it goes from high to low, goes to the lowest, and when you click again, it goes back to turbo at the highest. Click for off. Now, if the light is off and you press the mode button here, it goes to strobe, tactical strobe immediately. So you have instant access to turbo, instant access to strobe. Now, it gets better. This strobe is press and hold, right? But watch this. If I press and hold for more than 3 seconds, when I let go, it stays on. Now you can just tap to make it stop. The tail switch is a forward clicky, meaning that you can half press it for momentary and let go without latching, or press it all the way and it clicks and then it stays on. The E-switch on the side is pretty easy to use. You click once and the light comes on. It comes on turbo because we're in tactical mode. Then every time you press, it decreases as if you're using the mode button on the back. And when you want to turn it off, you press and hold. Now that's the way the flashlight is set up by default. Let's talk about lockout, and then I'll show you the alternate UI, which is better for non-tactical use. So locking out the light is awesome because you can lock out the E switch by itself or the tail switch by itself or both. To lock out the E switch on the side, when it's off, you press and hold until you see 2 flashes. There you go. Now you can let go, and this switch is now disabled. To unlock it, you have to tap 3 times quickly. 1, 2, 3. Now flashes confirmation, and now it's unlocked. I also should point out that there's a tactical strobe from the E-switch side with a double tap. So anytime, double tap, and you go to tactical strobe in the tactical mode. If you want to lock out the back of the light, you have to go about half a turn. Now the switch on the back is not working, but look, the E-switch still works. So these are independent of each other. Now let's talk about the alternate mode, the flashlight enthusiast mode, if you will. That will be pressing the E-switch on the side and the mode switch on the back simultaneously for about 3 or 5 seconds, something like that, until you see it flash. And when it flashes once to tell you it's in tactical mode and twice to tell you it's normal flashlight mode. So you're supposed to press these simultaneously. I found that I had better luck if I press these simultaneously, but this one, this E-switch, like a millisecond faster. So click, like that. Press and hold until you see flashes, and when you see flashes, let go. Now you notice that the mode switch does not do tactical strobe. When I press, it's moonlight. And just like the tactical strobe, it's a momentary moonlight, or press and hold for more than 3 seconds, let go, and the moonlight stays on. You can then tap to go through the different modes up for moonlight. If you click the switch, it's now on, and you click it off and it turns off. So I got a momentary here, full click stays on, and it starts in low with this switch. On this switch, if you go up and unswitch it, when you click back on, it's mode memorized. So you actually have 2 different modes here. You got the moonlight direct access from pressing the button on the side, or last mode over here. See like that? See that? Or if I press and hold over here, I'm in moonlight, and now this has been reset. The E-switch also operates similar to what you'd think. Now, interesting thing, I'm still locked out, so let me unlock. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got some flashes. And since moonlight was the last thing I used, you'll notice that when I press the E-switch on the side, we go to moonlight. When I click again, it's going to go high, medium, low, like that. So high, and then down, 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 down to moonlight. Press and hold for off. I love that it's easy to configure this light as tactical mode or something I'd want to use around the house with as easy as holding these 2 switches. All right, let's do some Lumen and CCT testing. So let's start at the low, which is 10 lumens. Then let's go up from there. We got 120 lumens about. Then we have 450 lumens, about 1500 lumens, and let's see what we got here. And here we have about 4,800 lumens, so that would be the high, that'd be the turbo. Let's go ahead and do a 30-second runtime test now. It's holding quite well for the first 10 seconds or so. Still over 4,000 lumens. I can feel the heat being put out by this light. We're in about the last 10 seconds. We're still over 4,000. All right, just under 4,000 lumens. It's dropping, but it's clearly not a cutoff. It's more of a thermal ramp. I'm sure that the light is sensing its thermal temperature and ramping down. All right, this light is a cool white. You can see it's around 6,000 K or even higher on turbo, and the tint is very neutral. It does have telltale tint shift that the XHP70 is known for. When I say tint shift, what I mean is the center tends to be cooler and more neutral, and the outside tends to be warmer, sometimes down around even 5,500 and greener. All right, we're gonna check out the Klarus XT21X Pro versus the AceBeam L35 and the Cyan Sky P25. All right, the P25 is the floodiest of the three. So here it is on the 20-meter tree, on the 55-meter tree, and it doesn't, well, I guess it's making the back a little bit. Now let's take a look at the AceBeam L35, which is much more concentrated, and you can see the difference on the 20 meters, the 55 meters, and it's definitely making the line in the back. And here's the XT21X Pro, which you can see is much brighter than the P25, but a little less throwy than the AceBeam L35. It's still making the tree line at the 150 meters mark, but the smaller optic is keeping up with that larger TIR optic, but definitely not quite as much as the L35. This Klarus XT21X Pro is a phenomenal light with its built-in charging, phenomenal styling, excellent UI, premium build, and you know, I just love the XHP70. I just think it's a great emitter. One other really nice thing about this light is, check this out. There you go. Without any tools, I'm able to remove the bezel, and then I already popped out the glass and the reflector and everything, and you have easy access to modding this light. So you could put in any emitter you wanted. If you wanted a warmer emitter, get something off Kai Domain or something like that. So this is an excellent light that I recommend. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.